Bobbleheads is what comes to mind when I think of children as young as 5 and 6 years old running around playing tackle football with helmets twice the size of their little head. Football is a fun and exciting sport, but how young is too young to start? Youth tackle football should be banned until the age of 12 because of the risk of injury, the time that is needed to learn proper fundamentals, and also the time that is needed for a child's body to develop. And through my research and the backing of former and current NFL players, this is a widely supported claim. And an example of a former NFL player that agrees with this claim is Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre, and he has this to say: "The body, the brain, the skull is not developed into your teens in single digits. I cringe. I see these little kids get tackled and the helmet is bigger than everything else on the kid combined. They look like they're going to break in half." And that's a quote from Brett Favre from USA Today by Steven Ruiz. We can all have a say in this critical subject by not only improving the game of football, but also creating a safer sport for future generations. To start with, children's bodies need time to develop before beginning such a physical sport. Children under the age of 12 are much too small to begin playing tackle football. And according to MDHealth.com, the average height and weight of a 6-year-old male, which is the age you can begin playing tackle football, is 45 pounds and 3 foot 7 inches. And for reference, a full-grown large dog is about 55 pounds. So that shows just how small these kids really are. And because these kids are so small, bones, muscles, and tendons are going to be much weaker than they would be at the age of 12, which puts those areas of the body at higher risk for injury. And because these children are so young, they are too young to understand the damage that can be done to a rapidly developing brain. Not only does banning tackle football before the age of 12 allow time for the child's body to develop, but it also allows time for the child to learn the proper fundamentals, which leads me to my next point, which is time to master fundamentals. Football is a very physical sport that demands proper fundamentals to be played safely. And banning tackle football before the age of 12 allows time for these kids to master tackling techniques. And it takes years rather than months to do so. And there are hundreds of camps that teach tackling drills and the proper techniques. And a couple examples are Heads Up Football and USA Football. And when tackling is removed from focus before the age of 12, these kids are going to be much more skilled by the time they are able to begin playing tackle football. And my next point is going to be risk of injury. Head injuries to youth could cause major issues such as concussions and CTE. And CTE is kind of like cancer and smoking. They go together. So the earlier you start smoking, the higher risk you have of getting cancer. Well, CTE is the same way. With the more hits you receive to the head, the higher risk you're going to get CTE. And according to brain and spinalcord.com, it is averaged that youth football players receive 240 to 585 hits to the head each season. Children this young do not need to be receiving that many hits to a rapidly developing brain. And a quote that shows this is, "Between the ages of 9 and 12, our brains are undergoing a massive amount of development. We know that concussions during this time not only affect the brain's ability to function at that time, but also impact development significantly. And that is a quote from Jonathan Gang. And aside from head injuries, there are also other injuries, such as injuries to bones, tendons, and muscle. And a lot of these injuries can turn into chronic injuries because of their being received at such a young age. And children this young do not need to have to deal with chronic injuries for the rest of their life. And in conclusion, when these three main points are considered, safety becomes the number one priority. And in baseball, the number of pitches a pitcher throws is counted to protect the elbow from injury, but in football, there's no one counting the number of hits a child receives to the head to protect the brain. And because of this, the only option is to allow children more time to learn fundamentals while their body continues to develop, preventing injury.